Avatar Fire and Ash is the third movie in the Avatar franchise. It's once again directed by James Cameron. And of course, you got a star studded cast like always. You got Sam Worthington, Sigourney Weaver, Zoe Saldana, Stephen Lang, Kate Winslet, fucking Giovanni Ribisi, all the works. They're all here. And this time, it's telling the same shit again. You know, same messages, same story beats, all of that. All the same shit from the first two movies is all here. But you get one extra thing. This time it introduces another new Na'vi tribe, because of course. And they're the Ash people. And this time they're the villains. That's the one new thing that this brings to the franchise. Some bad Na'vis. Ooh. I mean, I will say, I'll get to the positives with that Ash tribe pretty soon here. Yeah, it's the third Avatar movie, and everyone's just been wildly anticipating it. Before I get into my thoughts on this movie, I'm going to briefly recap my thoughts on the first two. They're both okay. They're very serviceable with the action sequences and the spectacle. Nothing interesting in terms of story or characters, but when it comes to that action and spectacle, both of those movies deliver. And can't knock them for that. They deliver what they promised. So that being said, what did I think about this third movie? This movie was punishingly mediocre. I'm serious. This is easily the worst out of the three. But before I get into my bitching and complaining, let's talk about what I liked about the movie. The visual effects and the action sequences still work. It's all really good. There's one action sequence in particular that I actually really enjoyed, and it's early on in the movie. It was actually quite fun and entertaining. And yeah, the performances are all great here. The visual effects are still stunning. I can't knock the movie for that. James Cameron really does know how to make a gorgeous looking movie, and this movie's no exception. And then let's talk about that Ash tribe. They're fine for the most part, but the leader, I loved her. I thought she was fantastic. She's easily the best part of this movie. But we'll get into some flaws with her later on. Yeah, let's get into the flaws, shall we? As I've mentioned in my plot synopsis, this movie brings almost nothing fresh or new to the table. We're three fucking movies in, and very little fresh or new is here. It's like James Cameron came up with this brilliant formula for these movies and refuses, I mean absolutely refuses to deviate from it. He's just so content on telling the same kind of plot over and over again. And whatever new he actually adds to each one is so minimal, it barely stands out, because everything else is just so generic. So been there and done that. It is absolutely insane. The dialogue. The dialogue is atrocious in this movie. If you thought words like bro and shit were grating in The Way of Water, oh, strap yourselves in, motherfucker, because you're going to be hearing a lot more of that in this one. Shit like bro and sick. And a lot of that is within the first 15 minutes of this movie. Wow. And now we get to my flaws on the Ash tribe. Mainly the leader. Now remember what I said. Remember when I said that she was the best part of this movie. Here's the downside to that. She has very little screen time. She only shows up once in a while throughout this movie. And this is a long movie too. It's nearly 3.5 hours. And you would think with that gargantuan of a runtime that she would be given, a lot more development, a lot more time for us to get to know her, maybe give her a motive as to why she's such a bitch and whatnot, but nope. that doesn't happen. She just shows up. I mean, she's great in every scene that she's in, but she just shows up once in a while, mainly for like a battle or, just to have some banter with Stephen Lang's character. Other than that, she just gets sidelined completely. And there's long stretches of this movie where where she's not even present. If I swear, if she was a forgettable character, there would be times where, like, those long stretches of this movie where you would forget that she was in this movie. But I'm just glad that she was so good that every time that she was on screen, the movie just picks right up. So there's that. And speaking of that runtime, normally I'm not one to bitch about how long a movie is. It's very rare that I will really bitch about a movie being too long. I swear, this movie did not need to be nearly 3.5 hours. And not only that, I felt every minute of it. This is the worst paced movie out of the three. It's very meandering. Whenever there's no action going on, this movie becomes a snooze fest, and that's because there's nothing really interesting going on in the story. The only time anything interesting happens is when that Ash tribe shows up. And those scenes are very few and far between. Other than that, it's just telling the same story again. And with the same bland characters. Now, I wouldn't have minded if the story wasn't so terrible. I wouldn't have minded that the story was so terrible if the characters were at least interesting, but no, most of the characters are bland, and that's the problem I had with the first two movies too. This movie tries so fucking hard to make you care about these characters, but yet no thought was put into these characters with making them interesting. It's been like that since day one with this franchise. One major plot point with this movie is Jake Sully's family dealing with the loss of one of Jake Sully's kids. And it's a main part of this movie's plot. And this movie so desperately tries to make you care, but for me it never worked because I never cared about these characters in the first place. Every time they mention, oh, he's dead, and then there's also like the family blaming each other for the death too, and I'm like, holy shit, I don't fucking care. Just get to something already. Find an interesting plot. Get to a battle or something. Like, fuck. It's just so boring and so uninspired. But yeah, in the end, Avatar: Fire and Ash, it does deliver some action and spectacle, but it's just the story is just so repetitive. And it's just so content on telling the same story again for the third time that it's just wearing thin. James Cameron really needs to sit down, brainstorm some actual fucking ideas going forward, because he's making 2 more of these. And I swear, it's just going to get worse and worse if he just continues to go down this formula that he's been going on with these 3 movies. Make something better. You have the technology, you deliver on some good action and spectacle, but wow, you just give no thought whatsoever in the story. And I gave the second movie a pass because at least the visuals were so good and the movie was so gorgeous looking and the action was so fun that I didn't care as much. But in this one, there's not as much action as the last one. The movie's gorgeous looking and whatnot, but there's less color in this movie. It's way more dark, so it's not quite as visually appealing. And yeah, the bland story just takes up so much of this runtime, and with action sequences so few and far between for me to have fun with, yeah, it's just wearing thin now. I'm sorry, but yeah, I did not care for this movie. I am going to give Avatar: Fire and Ash a very generous C minus.